Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it is time for another episode of League Talks. I know it's been a while, but that's because the questions don't really roll in quite as much as they used to. You can probably go watch older League Talk videos to probably get your question answered. So don't forget to go watch previous episodes of League Talks if you find it entertaining and you want to learn just random things that people have asked. So we're going to go ahead and start off with some questions today. The game in the background is a random ARAM game. Might be from a stream, might just be a random ARAM game. I really don't remember. So, yeah, that's what's going on back there. And we're just going to answer some of your guys' questions. First question today comes in from Moses No Exolo. That's how I'll pretend that's how that says. They are asking that or at least they're saying that they generally feel that they buy too many wards for their team as the support. How many wards would you recommend buying in relation to main items? One thing I will say, since we do now have the Sightstone and Ruby Sightstone, is I would consider getting this fairly early when you are supporting. It's going to save you a lot of overall gold. If you don't buy this at all, that would honestly be a mistake. You need to buy it because it's a good item. The health is very helpful, so you do not die while you're in lane if you are getting poked at. But just the fact that you get all those wards that constantly refresh, it's great. You can throw wards around because they're basically free after that point once you basically buy the item. So you really do need to pick it up. Now, I know some people don't know when they should pick it up, and I'll give you my personal opinion on this, and it seems to work out fairly well. If you're doing well in your lane, then you should get it fairly quick. Even if you're doing fairly bad, you should still get it fairly quick. But my main thing I try to do is I usually get 1 gold per item and then make sure that I have my Sightstone finished. I don't try to buy 2 gold per 5s or gold per 4 depending on which ones you're getting, but try to only get 1 gold over time item and then try to get your wards, because that will save you way more money overall than just buying gold per items, because you can buy 2 or 3 of those, but by the time you put the money into them, you're spending way more money on wards than what you're actually getting out of them. So you just need to get your wards bought with one of those Ruby Sightstones, and you're going to be good to go from that point. Still pick up purple or pink wards whenever you can to go ward Dragon, because that's very important to do so. So that's what I would definitely say. After that, you can continue to do your main items like you want. If you want to stop buying pink wards around the, 15-20 minute mark and just get oracles occasionally to go clear wards and do that, you can do that as well, especially since those now last longer than when you just die, so you have that timer carry over. So that is how I would recommend you buy your wards if you are supporting. Just maybe only 1 gold over time item. If you get off to an amazing start and you just want to have wards everywhere, go ahead and pick up just your Sightstone early and then finish your gold per 5, and that should really help you out a lot. Don't buy lots of gold per 5 items and then just buy single wards, because that in the long run is going to cost you way more money than going towards other items you could later purchase. Next question comes in today from Adrian, and he asks, does playing a lot of ARAM make you forget how to play Summoner's Rift? No, I wouldn't say it does. I know that you do play it differently, and there's a few different items and things are tweaked for ARAM. One thing I will say, if you do play lots of it, just make sure you don't jump into a Summoner's Rift game and try to level up 3 abilities and then accidentally level up the wrong thing. So I think that's probably the main thing people might screw up on if you do jump in back between both, but no, it doesn't screw me up. I know what map I'm on, so I'm not too worried about that at all. My next question comes in from Mr. Fancy Face. Nice name. They're asking, sometimes I leave a match before it has started because I can already see that my team is bad and not cooperative. What should I do? Well, if you want to leave, that's totally up to you. I don't leave. Most teams, you can get them to calm down. And I know it's tough and it doesn't always work. Usually, I don't try to ever be confrontational. If you're not, usually no one else will be. I mean, I know a couple people will, but rule of thumb, if everybody's nice, then everybody's nice. But another thing you can try to do is be the voice of reason, which isn't always easy without sounding like a douchebag. So you kind of have to be careful with how this works. I've seen a few people argue before, back and forth, and I just, I'll pipe in. I'll be like, hey, nobody cares. Decide it. Do rock, paper, scissors in chat or something. Like, figure it out what you're going to do. And if they're arguing over positions and they're going to troll, just still try to play the game best you can. It is going to happen. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. It's part of the game. You're going to get that in almost any kind of game where there's a little bit of teamwork. So It is unfortunate, but usually when I jump into a match, if I want a specific position, I'll usually ask for it, and I'll put please. I'll never instant lock anything if that's the case. I'll never do anything like that. And try to talk with your team. Don't just try to yell at your team. I know even if it's not you, still try to talk to the people who are yelling at each other. So that's the best you can really do. Other than that, what you should do, play with your friends if that's the only way to get around it, or make a group of friends. If somebody was really nice in a game, send them a friend request. Become friends with people who are nice. I have a few people on my friends list that I've done it that way. I was like, wow, this person was very nice. They played the game very well. I'm going to add them because they're nice. And now I play with a handful of these people as regular friends. So that's a good way to add people. Find the nice people, add them to your friends list, and then just play with them. It's a good way to do it. My next question today comes in from, holy cow, Sajazaris. That's what I'm going with. Maybe it's wrong. Probably is. They ask, who do you think is the most dominant champ for mid right now? Well, that's an interesting question. If you go and you look back over my build videos, in the past half year, I'd say almost all of them were from AD carry, top lane, or jungle, or a couple supports. Only recently have I been playing some more mids because it had just been a while since I made a bunch of mids because I'd just been playing other positions just to play them better, really, what was going on there. And I've started playing a few more mids. And I will say, I've been thinking back and forth between who counters who, and who's just good, and who just naturally is doing what they want, and all types of stuff. And I'm going to come up with a champion that I immediately know a bunch of you are going to disagree with, and that's completely fine. But I think right now, one of the most dominant champions in middle, in just the lane, is Ziggs. And I know that might be a weird answer, but right now, I try to think of people who can hard counter him, and I can only think of people who are AD mids, and I don't want to count them as mids right now because I'm thinking casters. And like, I've played a bunch of people with Ziggs, and I don't know if it's just they were bad or what, but I always never really have a problem with anybody because he has got decent poke, he's got really good self-crowd control because he has his two other abilities that deal damage but then slow or knock people away or knock him away. So he has a lot of really weird versatile abilities to either move in quick, to get away quick, to deal damage quick, and it comes down to how good you are at placing all of this. So that's another really interesting question, or point with Ziggs. Now there's other champions too that are really good. Obviously if you're good with Kassadin, he can roll faces through the whole game, and that's just ridiculous because that's Kassadin. There's other champions that poke really well that are good too, and then there's Fizzes who can just dodge stuff and jump all over people's face, and he's one of the only ones I can think that can kind of negate Ziggs a little bit. Even then though, when he jumps on Ziggs, Ziggs is going to drop all of his bombs on top of himself where Fizz is standing, and that's going to hurt Fizz. So it's really interesting how it works with him. But lately, I haven't had much problems with Ziggs in lane, and he farms pretty easy too. And then he's got his weird standard attack passive thing that he has. That's that little extra damage. So last hitting isn't too bad occasionally, and then you all can also poke really well. So I don't know. Ziggs is what I'm going to go with. If you can play him really well or fairly well, I feel like he wins his lane quite often. So don't see him too often. I'm going to go with that. I hope it makes some of you mad because I like to make people mad. Just kidding, I don't. But that's who I'm going to go with. There's other good mids too, obviously, and it comes down to the player, as I will almost always say. I mean, I don't care who is a direct counter of somebody. If someone is a better player, then they're a better player and they can win. Such as my Darius and my Fiora build. In one of them, I go against the other, and then vice versa, the other way around. Somebody was like, well, Fiora does counter Darius, and then in my Darius video, I murder a Fiora. So it always comes down to the player. So you can never say the best dominant champion of any lane, because it comes down to who can play who. But I will say right now, Ziggs seems strong for really weird reasons, and he's pretty balanced. You get a death cap and you kill everybody. So I'm going to go with Ziggs. So yeah, enjoy that. For my last question today, it comes in from Freak Dreams, and they are basically asking, to sum it up real quick, is they want to know 5 champions I would recommend that aren't too tough to play for all the positions. So here are my top 5 for just champions I think people should probably start off with in certain positions if you're having a hard time or you're just looking for someone who's not complicated / you're new to the game list. So, starting off, top lane, Garen, calling it, Garen. Everybody hates him because he's easy, and because of that, he kills people and blah, 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 blah. Don't care, Garen's fun, kill some people, rock some face, do it up, play some Garen. In the jungle, for easy champions to play there that also are slightly rewarding, but then sometimes not. I'm going to actually go with Warwick. Warwick is really easy in the jungle. That's why I didn't make my build for him initially in the jungle, because he really can't die there. He has so much weird lifesteal from his passive to his Q. You just don't die in the jungle. So it's really easy to live there. So if you're having any problems with just living in the jungle because you're new to the game, Warwick is pretty easy, pretty simple, and I'm pretty sure the first two champions I've already talked about are really cheap to buy. So that's another one. Another mid laner now going to that I will suggest that is easy. Not any mid is really easy, but I think Ahri isn't tough. Granted, she has her skill shoddy initial, Q and her taunt and whatever, but I don't think it's tough. And because your ultimate can allow you to not only gap close really easily, it allows you to get away easily too. And then that auto hits as long as you're close to him. So Ahri I don't think is tough. Obviously the better you are with her, the better it gets, but she's really not a difficult style mid to play. So I would recommend Ahri if you're looking for someone maybe not just quite as tough in the mid lane. And then as for your support champion, an easy support, that's not really a real thing because it comes down to how that lane is doing, comes down to how the support is helping the AD carry win their lane. But someone I will recommend as a support is going to be Sona or Soraka. This is a coin flip one because both of them just help heal really well and kind of just help the AD carry win their lane by just kind of focusing on them and not really the other two. Sona can poke and help with some damage. Soraka can help with her silence, but she can really help by feeding mana and health constantly to her AD carry. So those two are pretty simple supports that I would highly recommend if that is what you're looking for. And then finally for the AD carries, simple AD carry, I'm going to just go with it, is Ashe. She's the simple. You can turn her Q on if you want to slow people. You can just launch your W if you want to slow people. You can hit people in the face with your ultimate if you want to stun and slow people. And you just standard attack. AD carries are all pretty similar besides the ones that start to get intricate. The only other AD carry I'd recommend that is also just beyond basic is Caitlyn, who also is very good. You just shoot people, and then you ult people when they run away. So other than that, those are the people I would recommend if you're looking for champions that are just pretty simple. Obviously, the better you are with them, the more complicated you can make them, and the better you'll get with them. But overall, those are the 5/7 champions I recommended for, people if you're looking for something just simple. But that's going to be League Talks for the day. If you have a question for a future episode of League Talks, you can send me a private message on YouTube, labeling the subject as League Talks, and ask me your question there, and I'll get to it in a future video of League Talks, and we'll go over it then. But other than that, I'll just see all of you guys in the next video.